It's a great place. If you're looking to cheat on your spouse and sneak into a place where nobody's going to see you, it's right here. No, I heard someone else say that at the bar. Just one of the many benefits being here. How many are members? If you're a current member, make some noise. Or the why not? Make some noise. All right. If anyway, it's $100 for the year, I think. Is that the annual 100? Great deal. What's up? It's normally $150 this week. It's $100. Anyway, but I want to thank Cam and his wife Natalie, good friends of mine. I've known them for years from comedy. They're big Grateful Dead fans, so I see them at concerts from time to time, just partying our faces off and running into each other in the most random places. And I saw them on the dock here just a couple months ago, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do the show?" And I was like, "Man, I'd be honored to." And they told me that I could pick any two comedians to work with. So I didn't even have to think about it. I knew the two people already. People that I respected and loved and just look up to and laughed at every joke. And unfortunately, in the comedy business, people get booked. If they're really funny, they get booked. So the two people I wanted, obviously, had to cross those. And then we just started working down the list. We're like, let's try for these two. And it's like, and we went through about 40 names. And we're like, God damn it. And Cam was on my ass. He's like, "Listen, we're gonna promote this, so we need two names for the flyer." And I was like, "Listen, I'm just gonna go." I went to Facebook and I just put a post on. There's like 18,000 comedians on the site. I was like, "Does anybody want to do September 28th at the Why Not?" And Steve and Zach were the first two to respond. So let's hear from them for checking their Facebook really regularly. I mean, they were right on top of that. That was right. And I love Zach Burke. If you've ever hung out with Zach Burke, he's one of the most. He's a little weird, right? He's a little strange guy, but he's fun as fuck. He's great. And the best thing about hanging out with Zach Burke is when he leaves. And I don't mean that negatively. It's like, it's not that he leaves, it's how he leaves. He does the Irish goodbye. You guys familiar with the Irish goodbye? It's for whatever reason, you're at a social event and you just leave without telling anybody you're leaving. You just go. And usually people do it because they're really popular, or, people are going to get them to do shots and they don't want to stay. I don't know that Zach falls into any of those categories necessarily, but he is like you could be playing pool with Zach, just two people, and you turn around to grab your drink, and he's gone. And he's like, and it's so cool, you're like, that's fucking Zach. He does it. I have a feeling you could go to the movies with Zach, and you could go to the bathroom, and you're sitting there, and in 5 minutes, he's like, "Oh, that motherfucker left without me, didn't he?" That would never happen, though, because Zach doesn't have a car. So that scenario probably would never happen. But anyway, I was thinking about it. He doesn't really fit the Irish goodbye. Because if you look at Zach, he was the first comedian, if you're just getting here, and he doesn't look Irish. Can we all agree Zach not Irish? He looks Jewish, which he is. So he would do the Jewish goodbye. The Jewish goodbye, very similar to the Irish goodbye. You still leave, you're in a social function, but in this scenario, you don't offer any money towards the bill. That's the Jewish goodbye. That is so true. That is the truest joke you've ever heard. But Steve Marcinowski, he doesn't do either. He doesn't do the Irish goodbye, doesn't do the Jewish goodbye, because he never leaves. He's literally the last person at every party. If you see Steve leaving a bar or a party, he's going to another bar or another party that he thinks is more fun. He is not going home. That is absolutely true about Steve Marcinowski. And some of you heard about our tour. I actually went to all 162 games and broke a world record. Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. And Steve, of course, is the world record holder for the most boringest fan ever. And the funny thing is, there's a lot of truth to the story. First of all, he's like the little brother that I never wanted, right? And so, is this working? All right. And anyway, so we go on this tour together, and there's this dynamic. Has anybody ever been in a relationship where you pay for everything? Maybe it's your kid, right? Maybe it's a spouse, but every time you get a beer or a sandwich or something, resentment is built up. And originally, we were going to go to every game and make a movie. In fact, Steve wasn't even the original person. I was going to do it with a filmmaker, which makes more sense. We're going to go to every game, film it, and do a comedy tour. Well, Tim was also enrolled at Cape Fear Community College, and he didn't think that dropping out of the Cape Fear was a good risk. So he said, I can teach Steve to use the camera. I was like, okay. And so here we are, two idiots in my car. I agreed to pay for everything. And by the time we drove out of North Carolina on the 6-month tour, I realized that we weren't really going to make a movie. You know, like we were sort of, you know, just dreaming about it. So a lot of tension building up. Things like, you ever pay for a flight for 2 people and you pay for it, and they try to get the window seat and make you sit in the middle on a 5-hour flight, as an example. Another example might be the time we're in the San Francisco airport. We missed the flight in the morning, 2 $75 change fees. And we go to breakfast, very expensive breakfast. He's not looking up for his phone, and Slick orders an orange juice and a coffee. $23 worth of goddamn liquid. Right. So anyway, resentment's building up. And we when I say we have the same taste in women, I don't mean like the same type of women. I mean the same woman. Right? It's like if you had 2 toddlers and you give one of them a toy, the other one's just kind of like, wah, wah. That's how me and Steve are. So anyway, we got all this resentment building up. And after 57 games, I told him, listen, you know, the end is over for you. We're sending you home. And if you know Steve, he's like, he wasn't going to take it, he wasn't going to take it. He starts feeding back to me all my motivational quotes, you know. Hey, commitment, I thought commitment was doing the thing you said you would do, long as you said you would have left you. Hey, Melia, winners never quit and quitters never win. You know? I'm like, how about don't bite the hand that feeds you, motherfucker? Anyway. So let's hear it from my buddy Steve. He's great. I love that guy. He's literally one of my best friends now, and I appreciate you hanging out with me, being the old guy and all. But I recently moved back to Wilmington, North Carolina. Make some noise for Wilmington. Love Wilmington. I love it. I lived here. It's my second stint here. I lived here from like 06 to 15, and as soon as I drove into town, and I just looked around a little bit, I saw that exit 420. I was like, these are my kind of people. I really like this town. And then I just moved back recently, back in March, and first thing I did when I came back is I bought one of them UNCW hoodies. I love being in a college. UNCW, let's hear it, yeah. And the lady's cashier's checking me out, and she's like, oh, do you have somebody there? Like, what's that? It's like, do you have somebody at the college? I was like, no, that's why I'm getting this hoodie, ma'am, so I get me somebody at the college. I was like, if you have any more tips, let me know. This is my best idea so far. And, I gave her a stack of my cards. Here you go. Let me know if you run into anybody at the college. Thank you very much. You guys are a lot of fun. Some of you know I lived in Panama. I left the pandemic because I was like, stuff's getting crazy here in the United States. So I went to the country of Panama for a year, lived there on the beaches, Panama Canal, beautiful country. And people ask me all the time, what's your favorite part? Living in Panama, and I would say, if I had to be really transparent, they sell cocaine there for $10 a gram. I know, right? That's a bargain. If you're not good at math, that's like $40 for an 8-ball. And people were like, why'd you leave? I was like, I don't know if you heard me, but they sell cocaine there for $10 a gram. You're not going to live there for long. You live there, but people say, you look great. I was like, yeah, it's called the cocaine diet. Very effective, fun. And some people lose a little, and some people lose everything. Aww. No, I'm starting over in Wilmington, but thank you for, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I joined Planet Fitness, though, because I figured, get my life back on track here, join Planet Fitness. And a lot of choices when you join a gym in Wilmington. For $10 a month, though, as a comic, all the comedy you can handle, I think that was my best deal right there. And people make fun of Planet Fitness, but they actually have a lot of amenities that other gyms don't have. Like the one on Kerr has a smoking section. I've never been there. Yeah, I think it just started organically. Somebody lit up one day, nobody said anything, before you know it, the whole place is smoking. And they also do Planet Fitness has a thing for new members every month. They do like a member appreciation day. They welcome all the new members. and they have unlimited pizza and bagels. It's such a great idea, Planet Fitness, right? That's like having your first NA meeting. They're throwing out 8 balls to the crowd. Okay, welcome. Have a good time. People are like, yeah, I wish. I'd go to NA tomorrow. What were we talking about? My God. Oh, Planet Fitness. So their slogans is horrible. Like other gyms are great slogans. Like some gyms have like, go hard, go home, hustle, sweat, repeat. You know what Planet Fitness is? No commitment. That's what I'm looking for in a partner. They're like the one-night stand of the fitness industry. And they make it so easy to sign up. They're like, no commitment. You can enroll online. It's like, wow, you don't even have to go to the gym to sign up. That sounds great. It sounds great, but their whole business model is really easy to sign up, make it really hard to cancel. That's how they got all those customers, right? How many people a week you think call Planet Fitness are like, yeah, I'm gonna need to cancel? They're like, Mr. Vulin, you've been a member since '03. So sorry to see you go. But our policy is you gotta come in to cancel. He's like, oh man, where are you guys located? Same location since 1978. Anyway, that's how they make their money over at Planet Fitness. Think about it. If you're running a business, that's not a bad model. I don't know if anybody's been to ABC liquor stores, but if you live in North Carolina, it's the only place to buy liquor is a liquor store. They got a little monopoly going. So I go to Castle and 17. I don't know if you guys ever been to that liquor store. A little bit of ghetto, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm downtown, but it's cool, whatever. That's where closest spot. And I go in, and I buy the same thing every week. Usually on Thursdays, I go in, I buy a handle of Tito's vodka, the big bottle. I know where the shelf is. I know my route. I get in line. Last Thursday, I went a little later than normal, about 5:30, so a bit of a line. Guy 3 up turns to the guys behind him, and he goes, same bottle as me, got 2 bottles. He says, can you believe they get $41 for this bottle? I can't help myself. I'm like, I think that's a great deal, actually. Very reasonable. Do you know that for that same size bottle, they charge right down the street $750 at Cheetah's Gentlemen's Club? They do. It's a fact, Anybody been in Cheetah's here? You got any fans of Cheetah's? I see a couple familiar faces. They call it a gentleman's club. A gentleman's club. A gentleman's club. Isn't that a little bit of a stretch? I gotta admit, I've been going to these places since I'm like 21, and I don't think I've seen one gentleman in any of these places. I've seen a lot of scumbags. That's what they should call it. Cheetah's, the premier scumbags club. But I think you could tell a lot about a stripper by how she names herself. Like maybe her name's Platinum or Diamond. She's a little pricey. Bambi. She's light on her toes. Anyway, this girl sits down next to me, and she's like, can I sit? I was like, yeah, please. I'm Steve, and she's like, I'm Stephanie. Like, Stephanie? It's like, do you even work here? Stephanie asked me if I wanted to go in the back and have a little bit more privacy. I was like, I'll be honest, Stephanie, I'm going to pass this time. Because if your creativity and effort in dancing is anything like your creativity and effort in naming yourself, I don't think it's going to be a real fun night. The great thing about being a comedian, though, is you can do things. You're like, yeah, I'm just going to Cheetah's. I'm trying to get some new material, so I'm just going to go down there and see what happens, So I go down to Cheetah's since I moved back, and I don't know if you guys know this. They've gotten rid of the $20 lap dance. This is my point of the whole story, which to me is the same as getting rid of the middle class in America. All right? Because listen, there's 3 classes you go to a strip club. You got your dollar guys, right? You remember Zach and Steve? Those are dollar guys. They are. Then you got your $20 to $40 lap dance guys. That's guys that got maybe 100 or 200 in their pocket. They're gonna have fun at night. And then you get your idiots, the guys that just give their credit card, and you know what I'm talking about, boom. They get too much. So anyway, I go in one night, and I'm there, and girl says, hey, you want to, go in the back? And I was like, yeah, lap dance. We're hitting it off. And she's like, yeah, well, there's nowhere, lap dance. She's like, it's $100 now to go in the back. 10 minutes, $100. If you know me at all, I like shut down immediately, like, too rich for my, but thank you, And she goes, would you like to go for a free tour? And I rose, yes, I'd love to go for a free tour. And so we go in the back, and I don't know if you've ever been to a timeshare meeting before, but that's what it's like. I got a guy in a tuxedo, and I got, chick, and they're leading me through their building report. I know all the signs. I've been to many. I go for the free things. And this time the free thing is just the experience, So we're in there, and she's going through the packages for $100. You get 10 minutes, $250, 30 minutes. And then they get to the jacuzzi package. The jacuzzi package is where they take their clothes off, and you have the option to take your clothes off and get into the jacuzzi. And she lets me know that it's sanitized after every use, which is still disgusting, I'll be honest with you. But if you've ever been to a timeshare meeting, you got to show a little bit of interest, but not too much. You're not, okay. Like you're thinking about it. So then we get to the $750 package, which we've already discussed, the bottle of Tito's, right? So she gives me, and then she's very good. It's like she's been at Dale Carnegie sales training. She's like, which option makes the most sense to you tonight? And I go, I got to be honest with you. Whenever I make a decision of over $100 or more, I always have to call my wife and check in with her. And I'm listening to everything, and I don't think she's going to go for any of these. And without missing a beat, she's like, well, here's the best part. She never has to know, because we're going to put it on your credit card, and it's going to come up as golf. I was like, what's that? She's like, golf. It'll just come as golf. So, as an example, $500 golf. And she's like, yeah. I was like, how dumb do you think my imaginary wife is? So I went with the jacuzzi package. In case you were wondering the end of the story. Thank you. As a comedian, though, we're always looking like, hey, we're going to get more material. And I've got a strategy. I'm an eavesdropper. Any eavesdroppers in the crowd? When you're an eavesdropper, though, you gotta it's not just listening. You gotta act like you're not paying attention. Because if you're paying attention, they won't give as much away. They'll sugarcoat it. So if you want to get a real moment, you gotta act like you're not listening, right? So anyway, me and my new lady friend Jess, raise your hand back there. Some of you know Jess. All right. She doesn't like me to point her out, but she's the hottest girl I've ever went out with. So yeah, my new girlfriend. Anyway, Jess and I were in Mayfair the other day. We're in the Forum, and I just feel a comedic moment coming, And there's this lady right outside of, I think it was the beauty bar. It was one of the hair salons. It might have been the beauty bar. And you ladies are impressed that I knew that, didn't you? And anyway, the lady's she's got a Virginia Slim, like she's chain smoking. She's got her phone, got curlers, and enough tinfoil to be like a remake of, Wizard of Oz. She's got lots of stuff going on. Just stepped out of the hair salon, and she's like, and I can tell she's about to say something poetic. She's like, I don't like to lie, but it's just that every time I tell the truth, it never works out. And we were walking by, and I don't know about you, but I was just like, I waited till we passed her so she wasn't on to that I was listening, and I did a little happy dance. It's like, that was the most honest thing I've ever heard in my life. It really is. I can see this lady writing a book one day, or doing a TED Talk. She's like, when in doubt, lie. We've run the analytics, we know the data. 58% of the time, lying works. We've got the stats. That joke's called Liar, Liar if you want to refer to it to each other on the way home tonight. Thank you. You guys are awesome. I did mention I'm dating somebody now, which is nice. It's a relief not being out there anymore, because it's so awkward, especially at my age. I don't know what's going on. I don't get anything. Even the terminology, I met this girl online not too long ago, before Jess, obviously, and it was like she said she was curvy, right? So I don't know about you guys, I'm thinking curvy, like a street sign. You see a street sign that says curvy, curves ahead. Right, so that's what I'm thinking. And she shows up, and she was more roundabouty. Thank you very much. Thank you. I had a lot of family and friends here tonight, which is, let's hear it for being a great crowd tonight. What a great crowd. All right. We sold out 2 shows. So, see a lot of my old buddies out there, and I had this fear, like whenever, you ever like show up to a family party or something, there's one car or something that you don't think should be there, and you're thinking, surprise party. You know what I mean? I always get that. I always have a fear that my family and friends are going to be throwing me like a surprise party is probably not the right word. Intervention. That's what that was intervention. You know? But I know deep down that it's not going to happen, because it's not that they don't love me or they don't think I need an intervention. It's just that I think I have so much on everybody that nobody's going to fuck with me. It's like, yeah. Who'd like to go first? Danny? Really? Really? One word, Chicago. All right. All right. Marcinowski. Let me pull out myself. And Marcinowski stands up. He's like, oh, yeah, you know, Steve, we think you party too much, you know. Oh, is that right? I pull out myself and I said, Marcinowski, I moved back in March. I've got 79 texts from you. 74 of them are after 2 a.m. 80% of those include the word party as a verb and a noun. Anybody else? My goal would be if somebody tried to do an intervention on me, within 90 minutes, everybody there would be party. Like, you know, Melia's right. I don't think he's got a problem at all. You know, people are that amount of coke over there, bong hits over there, mushrooms over here. That'd be a lot of fun. That's my goal. So don't even think about it. I keep saying that so my family and friends don't consider it. I'm like J. Edgar Hoover over here. I got a file on everybody. You guys saw Ozarks, right? That was the most powerful characters, the politician that knew everything about everything. But I did though, speaking of intervention, I did recently decide to quit smoking pot. Yeah, thank you. In my apartment. I live at Pier 33 and they insisted upon it. I moved in on March 1st, and by St. Paddy's Day, which is the 17th if you're not Irish, I got my first warning. And by 3 weeks later, I got my final warning. The colors got darker or lighter. And they basically said, hey, you know, stop smoking pot in your apartment or you're gone. And I was like, you know, all right. I was like, because I love smoking weed, but I hate moving. Moving's the worst. So I was like, I'll go. And so now, and if you don't know my brother Mike, how many know my brother Mike? He's a fun guy. Yeah. Mike's 70 years old, and he moved in with me. And he smokes more weed than I do. And so we go out to my car where it's air conditioning. And the only problem with that is our XM radio doesn't work with Grateful Dead channel. So we got to go up to the roof. So we drive, we go up and up and up and up. And on the roof, it's a rooftop. We smoke weed, then we come down. I tell you this for a reason. A couple weeks ago, we see a license plate, a vanity plate, and it says Pier 33, which is where I live, Pier 33. And I don't know about you guys, but if you're high and you see a vanity plate that says Pier 33 you live, you're probably thinking, ha ha ha, that's funny because who's that? You know, like that's it's one way or the other. They're like the boringest life you've ever seen in your life, or they really love Pier 33. That's one way, it's one way or the other. Or maybe they work there. It's like, oh, you work at Pier 33? How's the money? Sucks. Benefits? Nope. You live here for free? No, but they give us this great vanity plate. It's nice. That's all I could think of. Anybody here have a vanity plate? You do? What's yours?
NC to NC.
NC to
21.
Right.
Nassau County.
Nice.
To North Carolina.
Yes.
In 21.
Yes, I'm from Nassau County too.
Whoa.
516. 516 to 910. I love it. Nancy, for those of you who know, is an awesome comedian. Thanks for being here tonight. We also have Annie in the house, another great comedian locally as well. So thank you for joining us, and you guys have been fun tonight. But if you guys don't know, I'm down on Pier 33. It's on Nut Street. Anybody been down to Nut Street? It's a really weird name for a street if you're not familiar. I don't know who is in charge of naming the streets, but it's spelled with 2 T's, right? They could have went with the 1 T, nut, But chestnut has one, walnut has one, but they went with the 2 T's nut. And if you're not familiar, nut is, there's only one way to say it. It's to ejaculate. Is that right? That's what it is. It's to ejaculate. So basically, I live at 901 Street, apartment 120. If you're looking for a party later, not loud. We might be in the back, but good stuff. Well, thanks for give yourself a round of applause for being a fun crowd tonight. This is fun, and I know a lot of you have this book already, but I've written 2 books. 162, The Almost Epic Journey of a Yankee Superfan, where if you thought Steve and I were funny, we go through all of our crazy stories here. And if you ever get a chance to see Martin Shanowski, I love that guy. Seriously, the reason I invited him tonight is the second open mic I ever went to, he was there. He's here with his whole family. Whoa. And the reason I invited him to the tour is I think he's going to be famous one day. I love that guy. He's the man. And he knows how I feel about him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did I do the one about the Irish goodbye yet?
Yeah, that's good. You did.
We've done 2 shows, so I don't remember that. Because that was a really funny one. Did I do it? All right.
Do it again. It was funny.
I'm not going to do it again. But I will tell you this. I'll wrap up. This is my last joke of the night. Is we were a couple years back. I was when I was still living in Wilmington. I was and doing comedy. I went to Jamaica, and I came back from Jamaica. I was there for like an incentive trip from my company that I was working with, and all right. And my let's hear it for John Wynn, ladies and gentlemen, Legal Shield associate. Excited? Trying to get a little shout out tonight. Anyway, this comedian Drew Harrison, we're smoking weed out behind Nut Street because back then there was no customers there and they allowed us to do that. That was when there was just comedians. It was great. That was the real fun times. And anyway, we're back out there. He's like, "Hey, Melia," he's like, "How's the weed there in Jamaica?" And I said, "Well, how's the weed you're smoking?" And he's like, "It's good." I was like, "Well, it's the same weed, I bring it to Jamaica when I travel." And as soon as I said it, it sounded like such a stoner thing to say. Like, who's gonna bring their own weed if you go all the way to Jamaica, right? That's like bringing your own prostitute to Las Vegas, Just pick up something when you get there. Buy local, that's all. And but anyway, I just think that there's a big difference between your casual marijuana smokers and your stoners. Like, I think you can tell how much of a stoner somebody is by the importance of an event that they will attend while stoned, Like your casual marijuana smokers, they usually draw the line at things like work and other important activities, but not stoners. It seems like the more important the event, the higher they go, They'll go to a wedding stone, their own wedding. They'll go to grandma's open casket funeral, high as shit, Hey, we can beat Grammy. They'll go to court on a pending drug charge. 2 strikes. They don't give a shit. But the other thing too is that I think you could tell is the paraphernalia. Like if you see somebody smoking a vape pen, they're probably a stoner, or a bong. I think the bong is the biggest giveaway. Like, you ever see a stoner do a bong hit? Like a real stoner. Like, it's one of the most impressive things you've ever seen in your life, honestly. It's like watching Picasso paint. If you just sit back, it's the only thing they do in their life with any non-chaos, It's like an altar. They like uncover it, and they put fresh ice in there. They're lighting it a certain way. And then they rise, they pull the chamber just at the right time. All the smoke goes down perfectly, and they never cough. And if they do, they say something super witty at the end, like, "Oh, that was good shit right there." You ever see a casual marijuana smoker do a bong hit? Oh my gosh. It's like watching somebody suck their first dick. They hold it as far away from their body as possible. They start asking all sorts of annoying questions. Like, where do I put my mouth? What's this hole in the back for? They tell stories that never end. They're coughing and gagging and crying. Finally, they just tap out and they're like, "I want to do it the regular way." Hey, I'm Steve Melia. Thanks so much for your time tonight, guys. You guys are fucking awesome. Appreciate y'all.